Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Uturi Jagero, and this is Dialogues with Jagero. The issue of AI has been a thorn in the flesh in the institutions of learning and even in business.
In life, generally.
You know, the other day I was talking with my wife, and she was telling me my wife runs a fellowship program, and each and every intake people have to write a very long application on what they want to do. The questions. Answer the question that they're asking as an organization. And she was telling me that she's getting a lot of AI written responses. And I was asking her, so how do you know that they're AI? And she was telling me, I use AI and so I know how it works. You know, but so I was asking her, so if you're using AI, why do you have a problem with the AI? And she told me something that is very interesting, that, you know, AI should be used as an assistant, but not for everything. So a lot of people are using AI incorrectly. As a person, I'm going to talk with Omondio Chuka, who is teaching at the university, about the issue of AI and education and how they can be able to use AI in school, especially in terms of exams, research papers, and all those things. But for me, I was talking to Alex the other day. Alex is an artist, and he was telling me that that AI is going to be it's not going to be very good for artists. As you know, people are not going to be making music by themselves. People are going to be making art by themselves, and so on and so forth. And then yesterday today in the morning, I was having a breakfast meeting with a commentator on life issues. He does films, the head of Mau Arts, and he was telling me that he thinks that AI is going to be like nuclear in the next few years. So, you know, the way they govern AI, the way they govern nuclear is the same way that they are going to be governing AI. So a lot of things to talk about. If you ask my opinion, I would say that for me, I think AI has been tremendous in the way I do my work. It's been excellent. You know, I couldn't wish for a better technology than AI. I use it for doing YouTube, for keyword research. I use it for design. Canva basically is using AI to remove backgrounds from pictures that people send me, so that I can put them on my YouTube thumbnail. When I record and I'm having a problem with sound, I put it on Adobe Firefly and it cleans that sound for me. You know, I use it on Google Workspace to filter and shift and sift. Is it sift or shift? Sift through my emails and get what I need to do. I use it on Google Docs. I use it I can feed a whole 1 hour video on AI, and then it will tell me the cuts that will interest people on social media, and it'll give me the timestamps that they think that is gonna be viral in nature. So I am using a lot of AI in doing a lot of things. So I do not have a problem with AI. The problem that I'm having with AI is that a lot of people, now turning to you, Chuka, is that I think people do not understand how to use AI. You know, so as somebody who is teaching at the university, what do you think about AI?
This is a very hotly contested topic, especially amongst academia.
Yeah.
But I tend to believe that resistance comes with novelty, one, and then two, when you do not understand something, you tend to be very hesitant about it. In fact, you may even be detrimental towards it, like, you know, disparage it or discourage the use of it. And then number three, of course, there's the morality of copyright. There's morality of how originality is derived. And then generally in terms of, they say laziness. I'm very sure you've heard that being flown around. Like, oh, you're too lazy to do things the way things have been done. And that goes back to posterity and how things have always, the culture of doing things that have been there. Like, for example, if it comes to research papers, people used to go to the library with a stack of books. And if you're doing a PhD, like a postgraduate studies level, it's very thorough. That thing kills people. It makes you mad, literally. And there are people who have done it for 10 years. They've never graduated. That's how thorough it is. But fortunately, right now, they are AI specific, you know. solutions that are actually you can like. There's something that's very interesting for me. There's something called, I don't remember the name, but it does what is called literature review. Now, if you want to look at existing literature in whatever field you're studying or you're thinking of writing your thesis or research paper on, now there is an AI that can create for you an analytic, like a diagram, where if you want to look, for example, papers that were published between 2005 and now, and then it connects to specific research questions that you had, and then it creates this beautiful diagram that you can actually connect from this to this. And this is something that was very difficult to do as a human being. It will take you practice for you to be an expert, to have done many research papers all at once. But now you can do it in a very short span. But that goes back to the same thing. So for what I've learned about AI, we can actually deduce that AI is actually a model. What is a model really? A model is kind of like a formula, a method of arriving somewhere. And this goes back or ties back to what you're telling me about what will be most important going forward is how do you use AI so that you get the best optimal result. So if you have a formula, you feed a prompt into it. A prompt is an idea you have. Let's say, I want to get the best studios in Nairobi. So there is already a repository. There's already so much published on the internet, from blogs to videos to interviews or radio programs that have been archived. So this is a resource repository where AI can reflect back, or like a reference point. So you give it, I want to see the growth of studios in Nairobi between 1990s and 2000. This falls within the category of what AI can actually go back to and reference. And then now that's just one of the prompts. It's a prompt is to guide, to guide it, number one, and then also to give it scope, so that you can only go to this point, and this is what I want to derive out of it. What do I want to do? Maybe I want to write an essay about the history of studio or art spaces in Nairobi. So you feed it in the model, and then it gives you the result. But I think the issue usually comes in what is the human aspect versus artificiality of it. Is there borrowing of already existing stuff? And what is the difference between I going to, let's say, Kenya National Archive, or the Ministry of Sports and Gender, or Ministry of Entertainment, if there is anything like that, so that I can look at their archive of whatever it is they've stored over the years, and doing the referencing one by one as a human being. So I think there is the convergence of how do we maintain authenticity while also making sure that whatever job, whatever task we need to do is done speedily, because we can't do the same things that we used to do in the 1990s, expecting that if I want to write an essay, I have to write it for a month. Something which you can now run a structure and then now feed it with your basic human knowledge that you have taken time to go to the field and research by your own self. So that you're an AI, I think one of the key also points of departure for a lot of people is most people tend to think that it's going to replace human beings. I don't think that's the case. At least for me, it's going to aid. It's going to be like, it's kind of like when you go to therapy. A therapist is supposed to guide you regarding the problems, because this is something they have studied for. You understand? And they understand the issue mostly on textbook based, number one, and because they've also had clients before, so they have a resource base. And it is very unfair to think that a therapist is going to solve your problem. Ultimately, it is you who's going to solve the problem. And when you talk in faculties or when you meet in the academia, there's a lot of hesitation. There's a lot of, like, it's a taboo topic. It's kind of like almost like plagiarism. Plagiarism is one of the difficult issues that is actually aching the academia. You find that today, like for example, back in the day when I was still in undergrad, we would do work for American students. I know for certain that there are a number of American students who graduated by Kenyan minds. The degree is American, but the mind, the effort, everything else is a Kenyan or Nigerian, because these two countries have been at the forefront of academic meals. So we get to see a point of people are arguing that AI is actually plagiarizing
Yeah.
existing work. And yes, to an extent, that might be the case, because what the problem I have with AI is there's a certain rigidity of syntax. Like if I key in a certain prompt in Gemini and I go to ChatGPT 4
Yeah.
and I go to maybe another Ask AI, if you have read or if you have actually written for a certain period of time, you would notice the difference. That is the same thing Jules was telling you.
Yeah.
Because you can even tell certain words. Usually, number one, many people tend to see a certain type of verbosity. There's a certain type of verbosity in it, but it does not. It is not the only indicator of an AI generated content. If it is an image, you would see a certain lackluster in it.
Yeah.
It is different. There's no human touch in it.
Yeah. So anyway,
But it does not mean that it is entirely a bad thing that we need to throw off.
yeah.
One thing that I've always gotten into problem with professors. Number one, I've always told them, just like when I was telling them, you cannot teach economics in theory anymore, because we are in the age of data, and data is getting more advanced and more advanced, and every other day there's an update on most of the softwares people use for analytics. So if you do not take key into AI and how it's going to disrupt education, you're in for shock.
Yeah. So now I want us to go to what is AI.
Yes.
By the book. So like for example, I want us to define it by reading by reading it online, what online is saying. Then number two, we want to ask AI what AI is. Okay. So according to Zapier, which is a blog, AI, artificial intelligence, is a machine that is able to learn, make decisions, and take action even when it encounters a situation it has never come across before. Okay, so as with what constitutes intelligence in humans, AI is hard to neatly draw a box around. Okay, so that is what Zapier is saying, and I believe they're drawing it from somewhere. So I have asked Gemini. Gemini, of course, is we are also going to be talking about these chatbots and the different AIs that we have right now. So right now, I have asked Gemini Advanced what explain AI to a junior high school student, and then describe it to a tech professor. Okay, and so this is what it is saying. So this is Google Advanced. So for people who do not know, Google Advanced is the Ultra 1.0. So we have the Gemini, which is just the basic version, and then there's the paid version, which is called Google Advanced. So Google Advanced is saying, imagine your favorite video game character. They can react to situations, make decisions, and even learn from their mistakes. That's kind of like artificial intelligence. AI is basically a field of computer science where we teach computers to be smart and solve problems. So here is the breakdown. Intelligence. This doesn't mean robots will take over the world yet, but it means computers can learn from data, recognize patterns, and act accordingly. So how about learning? Learning, AI systems can improve by looking at tons of information, like how many times you lose a game level, and adjust the difficulty. And then problem solving. AI can be used to create programs that can answer your questions, like me. It's saying like me Gemini. Recommended movies you might like, or even translate languages. Think of it like training a super smart friend who gets better at helping you the more you work together. AI is all around us, from your phone's virtual assistant to special effects in movies. It's pretty cool, right? And then it goes ahead, and this is the beauty of AI, and now talk to you about AI, talking to a, because so AI is able to talk to a child, is able to talk to a professor, to a professor. Says AI delves into the realm of intelligent systems that can reason, learn, and act autonomously. We achieve this through various techniques like machine learning algorithms that improve their performance on specific tasks by analyzing data. Then there's deep learning, a complex form of machine learning inspired by structure and function of the human brain, artificial neural networks in brackets. Okay, so let's ask ChatGPT what AI is. So AI, or artificial intelligence, refers to the simulation of human intelligence processed by machines, especially computer systems. Okay, so it's very brief. These processes include learning, the acquisition of knowledge and rules by using the information. reasoning, using rules to reach, approximate, and define conclusions and self-correction. You see, so that's what it says. I want to go back to this conversation with you about, because we're going to come back to working with AI in today's world. In the working place, in the gig economy, everywhere else. So we have a situation whereby you have been told to write a research paper, or you have been told to write a thesis. Okay? The question that I keep asking myself, why does it have to be difficult? Why can't AI just write it? So for you, what's going to piss you off if a student is going to send you a thesis that is written by AI? Do you think that they should use AI to write any paper?
I think universities should consider having hybrid learning.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? That they are supposed to not shun AI all completely like they have been doing.
Yeah.
Because, truth be told, it's not going anywhere, and it's very powerful. You said a very good commentary that it's going to be almost like nuclear, and it is. So what I mean by hybrid is they are supposed to maybe enroll students who can train their entire learning from undergrad, let's say, to up to postgrad, is purely AI. Whether it is the research they're doing, whether it is an assignment they're doing, it's purely AI. Even if possible, they are supposed to train an AI instructor, you understand? And then they can also retain the old model where everything is a human. Chuka is presenting, is the instructor, and everything is done according to the way it has always been done, you understand? And so at the end of a certain period of time, there's already a conventional way of doing stuff. And then we can sit down and recognize what are the differences, what are the opportunities we are missing, what do we do better, how can we converge all these things? Because at the end of the day, the reason why we have innovations or tech or something that disrupts the way something is done is because we have a need. There is a necessity created. There's a necessity gap. And this is something that many researchers like Oduro Duku will tell you. There's a research gap somewhere. Because whoever studied this topic or whoever maybe posited or created a certain field was not thorough or was not entirely, he couldn't capture everything. And because things always keep on growing, whether it is, let's say, media or when podcast was entering the market, we never knew that it would be what it is today. A lot has changed since then. And these are the gaps that we keep on filling. And the more you keep on filling a gap, the more we also expose more gaps. So this is also even one way of training AIs, because we train AIs using constraints. That if I'm supposed to, let's say, remember you asked the AI, explain it to a junior high school. You've created a constraint. If you were to just say explain, it would reason. Remember, AI reasons. It learns, then it reasons. Based on syntax or rules. There's a certain rules. This is the same thing with when I ask my student to present an essay or write a research proposal. There are rules. In fact, if you deviate from the rules, a professor would flag your paper because you've not followed those rules. And we all know how academia is always very strict with rules. Like you have to write a certain way. There's a language you have to use. It's almost pretentious. Like, I can't write my research paper in Sheng yet. Why? Because Sheng does not fully occupy the language in the academic halls. And so if you have AI, and I put the constraints to it, it tends to reason within those constraints, but it can also anticipate whatever it is that I did not put in the constraints. And that's why most people, most AIs, when you ask itself, what exactly is AI? It says that it can reason outside of the box, because and that's also creates another problem or an avenue where it can make error. And this is why we are saying
AI, that's hallucination.
Yes, AI does not come to replace human beings. And it's a collaborative apex where the human being is meeting with a toolkit.
Yeah. So if you ask a student to write a thesis, would you allow them to use AI?
Unless I expressly tell them you can use, but if I don't, the idea is I expect them to actually write from like a human perspective. It's supposed to be human.
Because for me, this is what I think should happen. I have been told to write about mountains, for example. Why forests are important. in our day-to-day life, or why plants are important, or whatever the case. You see, the idea about how I would go about whether a student should use AI is this way: write it. Put everything that you think, the reason why you think that is the case. Okay, we need this because plants make oxygen, and give out carbon dioxide and things like that. So, and then after you've written the whole thing, right, with your, you can have a lot of grammatical errors, you can have a lot of verbosity in it, it's not well written, it's not well presented. So after you have done this, I think you can be able to feed that into an AI software, and then prompt it and tell them that this is what I have written.
I want these specific things to be corrected.
Yes. So can you make it? Can you improve the readability of this thesis? Okay, can you deal with grammar and punctuation on this? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do that? So that at the end of the day, you know what you want to talk about, that you're not articulating it properly. So why can't you allow AI to articulate that for you? If we are not judging articulation, or are we judging articulation? Are we judging grammar? Because so I'm asking you, when you are looking at a thesis paper, what are you judging?
I think mostly.
Are you judging facts, or you are also judging the articulation?
That comes with the grading system. And when I usually tell professors that AI has been there before we knew it. Remember when MS Word came into existence?
Yes.
And they also created a grading system. I don't know if you remember.
No.
There's a grading system within MS Word. So you've written and you've typed. Sometimes even you've run the grammar check, and spelling check. You understand?
Yeah.
But still there might be grammars that you don't pick.
Yes.
First of all, the running of grammar, it's always somewhere in the I don't know, the shortcuts.
Yeah.
So you can click that and see maybe this was written, or it doesn't recognize Oduor as
an English word.
English word. So it underlines it or flags it. This is actually AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for a long time, you could just sit on a typewriter and type all over again and have heaps of papers before you come to a final clean and refined document. But this MS Word now comes in and tells you this might be wrong. Could you consider checking it?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have said, oh, it doesn't recognize African names. There's a lot of... yes, we need to actually... And that's why we need to actually train AI in terms of African language or African history or African context. Yeah. Because otherwise you're going to be left behind.
The other day I was talking to a South Africa and we spoke Zulu throughout, and she thought that I was actually a Zulu speaker. And I was even laughing with her and using Zulu jokes. Like for a whole evening. We were just talking Zulu.
How many Zulu words do you know?
I don't know shit.
Look at that.
But you know what? But I was using a very like Google Pixel 7. It's so good at that. And it knows even the nuances of Zulu and everything. I mean, it just wrote and we were laughing and we were getting naughty on the messaging, and it was just beautiful.
And if we did for the Bible, why can't we do for AI?
Yeah.
In Luo.
So you anyway.
So the thing is, most people, I think, the animosity usually comes mostly from pride. There's a certain elite pride within the academia.
Yeah.
And it's not just something about, even with, I'm very sure there's a time we were talking with Jules and I was telling you how defenses for thesis can be very brutal. And it can also be very easy when you have a certain relationship with instructors or professors. You go there, present, you laugh. Sometimes they don't even ask you questions.
Yeah.
But the idea of presenting a thesis is usually because, one, maybe you did not capture everything. Or maybe there's a way you could expand the knowledge so that anybody coming to reference your paper a year later or tomorrow will see, this person did a very brilliant job, but I think they should have asked this question. Let me ask it in my research paper so that I can further understand this phenomenon better. This is what AI is now coming in, because it can do that very speedily. And then it can offer scenario case. When I think there's something when I was involved in political voter behavior, we usually create something called scenario. Or when, let's say, for example, I go to Naivas when I'm writing something called axiomatic consumer behavior. I go to Naivas, I buy a basket, something like, let's say, what a household would need, maybe oil, flour nini, it's let's say 2,500. I go to Carrefour.
Yeah.
I go to another supermarket altogether. Then I try to compare what is the disparity between the pricing, number one.
Yeah.
Where would I get a cheaper flour if I needed to specifically buy flour so that I can save? Remember, it's a decision-making mechanism. You understand?
Yeah.
And this goes back to how AI is actually created. AI is created like what I said. It's a model. It's a formula, and it's out of simulations. Simulations is one of the most interesting topics that I've gotten very interested in. It's kind of like a game theory. You're creating scenarios, and you're kind of realizing how can this scenario give me an optimal singular case scenario, which is an answer. And this is the same thing with academia. If you are studying, for example, the effects of like SHIF, for example, now on cancer patients, what the implication that it will have on cancer patients. I'm trying to study a scenario, and I'm trying to look, if we introduce this case, there are going to be these changes in terms of how people pay premium services to SHIF. How is it going to affect households? How is it going to affect subscription? How is it going to affect government budgeting and allocation? So these are questions that are leading me. So I think many professors or instructors are very cruel on maybe the uniformization that AI tends to have. So that if you key in and then you present to me my paper, and then Ronald also keys in and then presents for me a paper, there's a certain similarity that comes that can be very annoying, but mostly if you're not open-minded to it. Because like you said, you can create a skeleton and then improve on it bit by bit so that you own it, you understand? Because you as Oduor Jagero has a worldview that I do not have. Yes. Even if we grew up in the same space, even if you are siblings, we may not have the same worldview, you understand? And this is how we can use AI as allyship, to our advantage, instead of throwing it off. Because what many professors are saying, it has no place in academia, it's plagiarism. But is it really? Is it really? Because tools that came, for example, people used to write even before typewriters and everything.
Because you could also argue that Microsoft Word is plagiarism.
It's plagiarism. Because when you key in, and there's a way you can actually prompt it to automatically change. Like you keep on just clicking and clicking, and it just changes. You understand?
Yes.
That actually, it's aiding you, but it's also in a way, it's using a certain syntax, a background on the way it was trained. This program, this particular app, which is MS Word, was trained a certain way. Or it was written by code, it was written a certain way. So it follows that syntax and say, this might be a spelling mistake. Let me flag it. So that the person looking at it might say, no, this is a name, it is African. And because MS Word does not train, or it is not written with an African language in mind, I now have to make the decision on its behalf. Remember, it has not replaced you as the human being. So I think we need to be more open-minded about where we need to go with AI. Because if we are to get the best results out of it, we need to be open-minded, number one. And then we need to give it the best training. The same thing, if you want the best out of a student, you give it the best training, you give it the best material, you give it, and you don't restrict them.
Yeah.
You don't tell them this is the way, because one of the biggest challenges for me as a teacher has been, how do I maintain my personal philosophy without projecting it on the student? I am supposed to lead the student and let them make the decision so that they can develop who they are as a person, so that at least they can even be better than me. Instead of thinking that I am on a pedestal somewhere and I am supposed to judge you down there, you are the student. We are both students at a certain point, the instructor and the student. And I think also I need to underscore the fact that I think honesty is good on both ends. When I, let's say, tells a student to write for me a research paper, I expect that they should declare that I have used AI assistants, because right now there are tools, there are anti-AI tools actually right now. You just run it, but that itself is also AI.
I think I don't know, because I think it's a fraud. Because who made it? Because Google itself is saying that they do not have a software that can flag the AI. They are working on it.
It's not completely developed.
Create a stamp for AI that is churned out by AI.
And you can see that because
OpenAI is saying that they have not made such a thing. Now, I hope that you're enjoying this program. Over the last 15 years, I have been working online for clients in America, in Europe, and all over the world. And that is why it pains me a lot when I see a lot of African brothers and sisters saying that they do not have a job. Now, this is the problem. A lot of people are trying to look for a job in 2024 in their own town, in their own country, in their local area. Now, the truth is, there are no jobs in Africa, at least not so many jobs. The good news is that we have internet these days. We have a tablet, we have a computer, we have a phone, and that means that we can do a lot of jobs. And those jobs are online. That is why over the last 4 years, I've been writing a book that is called Digital Goldmine. It is a book that explains to you how you can earn money online. The 18 hustles that I've chosen are basically for Africans. Okay? Because what happens when you are doing online jobs is that payment is usually a problem. So these 18 side hustles that I have put together in this book, you can be paid very well and very conveniently. Okay, so the book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. That is about $10. You can buy it in Kenya using paybill number. You can buy it online from anywhere in the world using a credit or a debit card. All the information about this book is in the description below. Just need to go to the description, click on the link, and you can buy this book. And if you have a brother, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a friend who is sitting at home and watching Netflix, please do buy this book for them. If you are the one sitting at home and watching Netflix and have nothing to do, please buy this book and your life is gonna change forever. Because I have been doing this online and I've been traveling and I've been enjoying myself and having a lot of fun. So thank you very much. And now back to programming. Claude is saying that they have not Mistra is saying
to say the same thing.
Yeah. So the question is, who are these guys claiming
they can have an AI detect?
Yeah. It's a fraud.
It also comes
but the question I wanted to ask you, without us meandering, is that how do you, because a lot of people are using AI right now in a way that is not helping them or is making them look like fools. So for example, how would you write a letter or, a job, what is it? A job what is it
Maybe
called?
a cover letter or a job application.
Yeah, cover letter or a job application or a CV.
There's a standard, yes.
Using AI. Do you think you will follow people that are using AI to write these things?
No, wouldn't. Because that is very easy. That also comes into how do you use AI. First of all, if there's a job application or a vacancy announced, there's usually job requirements and there's the duties or the responsibilities or the job description. So usually what people do and what many people do the business of writing CVs and letters, what they do is they tell you to copy that and feed it into the AI so that you customize. This is the same thing we were talking about earlier. So that you can humanize. This is your situation. You're applying for, let's say, a social media strategist at Power 254. They have given a job description. They're given the qualification. You need to have a BA in comms or related stuff. And you have a qualification in mind. You even have a CV that you've developed. So you tell the AI, you prompt it to help you or assist you make something that can capture the job details that you were given during the vacancy. You understand? And then so your duty is to humanize it, number one. And then two, ensure that it actually reflects accuracy, number one, because we realize that AI can make mistakes. And this is also what comes with, before you cut me, there's a lot of disparity. Sometimes I run anti-AI using the ones that they claim that it's anti-AI. I run on a certain platform.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, I run it on a certain platform. This certain platform says it's not AI.
Yes.
You understand?
And then
I run it on another, says it is 50. The other says it's 100% AI. So there's a lot, and then also it tends to have a very blurry.
This is how I would write a job application.
Okay.
Using AI or a cover letter. So first of all, what I would do, and this is what I suggest that people do. You've read everything that you need to write. Write it out, whichever way you can. Just go with it. Write the whole thing and say, okay, this is what I have written. You've written the things that you like doing, the things that the qualifications. If they tell you to write a personal statement, write your personal statement. Just write it, because you can write.
You can write.
If you can write. If you can write to your girlfriend,
Yes, you
or
can
to your
write.
boyfriend, you can write something.
If you can write a text message, you
So
can
write it.
anything. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so write it. Write everything that you need to write, however bad it looks. Just write through it to the end, and saying, okay, go through it again and see what you've done wrong, and just correct and correct and correct. If you're satisfied that this thing, even without AI, I can send it out and say, this is me, bro. This is me. This is me.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so now you take this. You take what you've written. So I will tell AI that this is the job description, and these are the things that are needed. Okay, and then I will chat to AI will tell me, okay, I understand, because you should be able to tell AI. Like, for example, sometimes I just ask AI, do you understand what is
Ulielewa hii kitu?
Yes, umeelewa.
And sometimes they tell you, hey, on a second thought,
Yes.
I don't think I got it correctly. Yes.
So itaelewa what itaelewa the whole thing. If it's a website, it will read through it. Or you can convert the web page into a PDF and then upload it on ChatGPT 4 or Google Gemini, and it will analyze it and say, okay, this is what they want. And then you will tell ChatGPT that, look, I have written the application, and this is what it looks like. I want you to look at what they're asking, at what I've written, and recommend if I can do changes on this. Okay? Then it will analyze that, and then analyze what you've written and give you and poke holes into it. Okay? Once it has poked holes into it, you can actually decide two things: that you go and make the corrections yourself, or you tell AI, would you now take what I have written and polish it and make it satisfy the job description that I am seeing. And then AI will just take it and do it really, really well. And I suggest that after you've done it, what AI does is that AI has got language, a language that is not very human. It's very robotic.
You can see it.
Yeah, it's very robotic in a way. Like deep, yet like you would go deep into the realm of.
It likes that real thing.
Looks like you're a guy.
I don't know why he likes that word.
Into the realm, into the intricacies. They're just AI words.
Yeah.
And why I'm saying that is that the people that you're going to send this thing to are people who are most likely using AI.
Yeah. In fact, they might even use AI to grade it.
Yes. So once you've done it, then go over it and then remove those things, and then humanize it, change full stops here and there, change words here and there. And then you can make a very, very good, cover letter. You can make a very good application, and it'll work for you.
I'd like to ask you something.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what sampling is in music.
No, I don't know what sampling is.
So this is sampling is what, if you listen to, last week was International Women's Day, and Tupac's Dear Mama was flying all over the air. Tupac sampled, there's a group called the Spinners, and their song is called Sweet Lady.
Yeah.
It's what is sampled in the Sweet Lady in the chorus. So sampling is taking it can be a pitch, it can be a melody, it can be a kick or a drum, or if it is hip hop. It could just be a string or a riff in a piano, and then twisting it or just changing something in it. Or you can even layer it on a beat so that somebody listening, I know this song. This is the Spinners.
But you don't know it.
But you do not know it.
Yeah, this
and
is
then
new.
If you're thinking,
this is new.
It was initially a soul music or a funk music, but Tupac is rapping on it.
Yeah.
You understand? So when sampling got into the market between 88 and 1995, there was a lot of problems. And you see, back then, copywriting was not so very complicated as it is now. Right now, if you sample 2 seconds or even a second, that music will be flagged because you do not have the rights, or you did not obtain the rights in the right way.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost the same situation that we are facing currently. Because a lot of people are saying that AI is remixing stuff, or AI is plagiarizing existing body of work. And I think if we say that that's the only thing AI is doing, then we are not very, very honest with ourselves. That's number one, because that's not the only thing AI can do, number one, and that's not the only thing that AI is actually doing. Just like music, for example, nobody would have known. There's a very favorite rapper of mine called Cool James. Remember Sinamakosa by Leo Anyika? So Cool James in 1997, when I was still a little baby, did a very good song called Sinamakosa.
Yes.
But he sampled Leo Anyika.
So sample meaning he borrowed or stole.
That is
I don't know.
That is the same.
I don't know what you mean.
That is the same edge we are with AI in terms of originality, in terms of copywriting, because he made the song very popular. He actually immortalized this song. Anybody listening will say, hey, this song used to be a rumba, but now somebody is rapping on it, and it's very different altogether. And I like how we are marrying two people, because I think also, now tying it back to what I wanted to say very fast. When we were talking with Akina Ikawa,
yes,
I told them something which they stopped to think about, that the ultimate AI is actually you, the artist.
Yeah.
Because ideally, it's like teaching a child a language from scratch. From the first time they call you daddy, and it's so gibberish. It's like something you've never heard, or something. Have you ever sat down when maybe Maya was still young, or maybe when Awur was still young? Just this something called Popo, Baba. I realized later that it was actually French for like daddy, you know, and I didn't understand it then. But coming to think about the history or the story behind it, it becomes even more beautiful looking at it. So I think it is how open-minded we will be, number one, and how honest we are with it. When we say that AI is lazy, is it really lazy? Because there's a lot of work that goes into training it, a lot of work that goes into coding it, a lot of work that goes into deep ML, machine learning. It's not simple.
I think AI is put into perspective. Working smart means. And for me, I feel like people who are bashing AI, is that person that is bashing a knife because somebody has been stabbed using a knife,
Right.
but does not think about the knife as something
bread
that you use
cutter.
for cutting onions, cutting, whatever. See, so anyway, I wanted us to talk about, for me, the way I use AI in my everyday life. So I usually tell people that I use a lot of AI. And AI for me as a writer, AI for me as a content creator has been a blessing, a huge blessing, because there are things that I used to do that I wasn't able to do. For example, I work a lot with photos. And with photos now, I use Canva to remove backgrounds. I use Canva to turn it to black and white. I use AI to, like, for example, if I want to read a large document written a PDF, I simply upload it there, and it will just crunch the numbers, analyze it, and do it what it needs to do. So content creation is about audio, and you know how difficult audio can be when you have very bad audio. The what do you
So
call
it's
it?
aching to the eye. The noise, the denoising.
The denoising,
compression,
making it warm,
reverb and warmth.
reverb, and all those things. Adobe Firefly is very good at doing that. It simply, takes that sound, analyzes it, and looks at the lights, the spikes, and all those things, and just give you a very warm, beautiful sound. Sometimes it doesn't get it very right because it's robotic and it sounds like it's been washed and rinsed so
uniform,
much.
yeah. Yes.
So again, that one is not good. But again, but after you put it in that program, you now have a very good warm sound. Okay. In terms of videos, I use AI to remove backgrounds and put a fresh background. If something is not looking all right on a video, I can do it. The other day, we shot a video and we didn't like the background, and we decided to put it on CapCut. CapCut is a powerful AI. And I think in the next year or two,
It's a game changer.
Adobe Premiere is really going to have
for this money.
very stiff competition from these tools, because right now there are people that are like when we were launching Pleasure Principle at Radisson Blue. There is a boy that was there that told me that he only uses a CapCut. he quit using
Specifically,
he quit using Premiere Pro.
Mm.
And so Premiere Pro can CapCut can separate your sound from the video, can remove the background, can do just amazing things.
So you have everything to do with these individual elements of this video.
So it can just give you very different, and then you put it on CapCut, and there is CapCut Premiere, and it can do a whole lot of things for you. I am a writer. Once I have written and I want to post on social media, I run it through AI, and AI will basically just look at it and make it a little bit better, can make it naughty, can make it playful. You can have one social media post and then turn it into 4. It will customize it to what will go to X. It will customize it to what will go for Facebook.
Yeah.
It will customize what will go for description. Even in description for... So that's what I do for Google. And then so now when it comes to posting on YouTube, now I use it as basically artificial intelligence. What it is, it's so intelligent. It can look at your YouTube description and tell you exactly the long tail keywords that you can use to get more views into your video. It can look at the virality of these specific words, of the specific words. It can recommend how people have used it in the past and what it has done to them in terms of viewership and how people come into it. And then when I want to write a title, I feed it into AI, and AI will analyze it. It will analyze and tell you that, okay, this is... And like Google Gemini can give you up to 6. You give it a title, and then it can give you it can sample it.
So I see now it is giving different drafts.
Yes, so it will give you different drafts of how to how to deal with that. I even use AI to look at my comments and judge the heat. What are people saying about this video? Is it all negative? Is it all positive? So that's happening. So for me, I'm just using AI in my everyday work. For example, Google Gemini and ChatGPT 4 are now my 2 assistants. And if you take me back to last year, I'm telling you that my productivity has skyrocketed because of these tools. So sometimes people are asking, so which other tools, which AI tools, which AI tools are in the market? I don't know do you know AI tools in the market?
Tools in what sense?
ChatGPT. You know ChatGPT. Yeah, do you know anything apart from ChatGPT?
I do.
Yeah.
There's the Facebook one. Is it called Llama or what?
Yes. So I just wanted us to go over them and have a look at them. So
there's a language models. There's I get it. Productivity.
Yeah, the productivity.
Okay.
So Anthropic. Anthropic. You know Anthropic?
Yeah, the Claude.
Yes.
Claude or what?
I think it is Claude. Yes. So
Claude, something of the sort.
Yeah. So Anthropic is very good. I've tried it. Claude is very, very nice. The thing is that they are becoming very capitalistic in nature.
In terms of their subscription.
Yeah. So Anthropic was founded by OpenAI alumni and siblings of Dario and Daniela Amodei. It builds frontier AI systems with emphasis on safety, reliability, and interpretability. I think every one of them is doing the same thing. Then I don't know how they read this. Cohere builds a large language models to power generative AI application for enterprises. An alternative to OpenAI, Cohere's platform is used by clients, including Spotify, Glean, and Oracle. It's interesting.
It's interesting. These big tech companies are using it.
Yeah. That's it. That's really, really interesting. And it was founded in 2019. And then we have AI 21 Labs. Considered the arrival to OpenAI, the labs is developing a large language model, notably the Jurassic family of models that includes the powerful Jurassic 2, and are powering its own LLP as a service platform. So, and then there is the Hugging Face. Hugging Face was quite a year in 2023. Hosting some of the most popular open source AI models, including Llama 2, and partnering with big name firms like Dell and of course Amazon, launching its own models. It was founded in 2016. There is Scale AI, San Francisco AI based is AI company that helps enterprises train and label their own AI software. And then we have ChatGPT, which of course everybody knows, the king, the lion of the jungle. So I think for me, AI coming to the end of this discussion. What do you think? Do you think AI is a good thing? Do you think it's a...
Yeah, just like I keep on telling people, if you ignore it, that's your own peril. Because let me give you an example. There is something called Turnitin.
Yes.
Turnitin is an anti-plagiarism that we use as instructors. When somebody has submitted a paper, and you can run through it and see if it picked. Because plagiarism can happen anytime. There's different types of plagiarism. There's one that you actually just decided, I'm going to just copy-paste this thing. And there's one that can be accidental. Maybe you paraphrased it wrongly, or you didn't use the correct format of citations. And because there are different types of citations, so these things can actually do happen. But what I've realized is, for example, even with Grammarly, you remember how we could upload up a document or paste a text on Grammarly and check spelling and readability. Yeah. These are scalings of AI. Before you even knew AI was actually happening at a larger public scale. Right now, you can have Grammarly and it can actually rewrite for you a sentence in a way that, And even before that, there used to be where Grammarly used to ask you, is it a formal setting? Is it a business? I don't know if you remember. If that is not AI, what is it? Because it's a prompt. It's actually a prompt. You are actually guiding this special toolkit to actually help you in terms of modifying or repurposing whatever with the certain intention in mind.
Yeah.
And same thing now is happening with Turnitin and most of anti-plagiarism platforms that we use in the academic halls. So these platforms are actually now using AI because you realize if I wanted to read a book on econometrics is one of the hardest, for a lot. It's a challenging field of study in economics or applied statistics. So a book, I might not really need to quote or cite the whole book. Maybe I just need a chapter or a subsection in my research paper. And an AI, if it has a soft copy of this book, or generally because it has already been published online, it can actually pick this thing with very much ease. Your work is to now go back and help yourself standardize it to authenticity. Is it meeting the requirements of your research paper? Is it accurate? Did it quote a recent? Because if you needed to write a research paper and maybe your school has a policy of do not cite papers below 2005. Maybe it has picked a 1974 paper. You should be able to, because in your defense they might ask you, why did you quote a 1974 paper? I said, and then you might give a defense for it and it might actually pass. And this is why we are saying it is not here to actually replace human understanding or consciousness. It is not an indication that we are very stupid. There's a lot of intentional work that goes into it. There's a lot of genius work that goes into it. And I think it's just about time we learn how to language it, learn how to train it, learn how to, most importantly, model our vision. Where do we want to go with it? Because, for example, right now, you've mentioned most of the AI platforms are American. Remember, for some time, when ChatGPT got into the market, it had a lot of difficulties in terms of African referencing. Maybe that is changing as we move along. But we need to be part of the problem. Africa has always been just a field. People just come, like people are just playing football all over the place. So we need to be we need to be at the center of it. Because if we can train AI to have a language model in Luo, it means that even the mother tongue that used to be there back in the day in primary, we can bring it back and we can write books, textbooks or topical books in Luo way much easier than us having to do it from scratch, because I spend a lot
By the way, right now, if we were to train AI on writing Luo, do you think we would train it on the Bible?
The Bible would be a very important resource for it, because the Bible is literally, even for example, I used the Bible to learn a lot of Luo, because I was caught in between Swahili and English as my first language. And so learning Luo, I used a lot of Bible, because at some point we used to go for competition in church, memory verses. I don't know if you had those. So these were in Luo, and it kind of gave me a huge, rich background in it. And it's a text that, although many people would frown because it's religious, we cannot ignore it because it has some of the best vocabulary, and because also we don't have many texts that are written in Luo. So we need to be at the center of it. We need not to stay away and be hostile or ignorant in some cases. Because when somebody says oh, this thing is entirely rubbish, it is not.
Yeah.
It is not. Some people who are contributing towards AI are some of the best brains we have in the planet. And so we need to be at the center of the conversation. We need to know, how do we customize AI to reflect reality on our ground in our everyday life? Because trust me, everybody is using AI today. Everybody, including the professors that are actually very mean about it.
Yeah, their phones are AI machines.
A phone is simply an AI. A microwave is now moving towards an AI because it can detect temperature and say, no, this is too much. Kitambo, you would put a chicken in the oven, it would roast completely black. And the house will, the smoke detector will go tweet and all that. But now it can detect. It can go, hey, you set 20 degrees. If it goes beyond 20, it just stops on its own. Look at that. So then also we also have to look at the dangers that exist within the realm, the realm of AI. There are dangers, of course, but nothing is without any hindrance. Nothing is without any flow. And I think the more we move up, we put our foot forward, one in front of the other, the more we also get to learn, how do we make it safe? How do we make it authentic? How do we make it moral? Because we also have society is governed by certain laws and morals. How do you align to those?
Yeah.
And that comes back to, who are you as a person? If you are a hypocritical person, you might think that AI is just rubbish entirely, but it is not. But if you're honest about it, you could see that it can actually change lives, and it is actually changing lives every other day. So that is the kind of honesty we need to have. Otherwise, we are going to be phased out at the edge again as Africans, and mostly least or emerging economies in the global world. Things are changing super fast. You wake up tomorrow. Just the other day, we were doing Neuron Writer, and you're teaching me how to check in the essays and see how which words are specific, which words would fetch a more virality. And these are not very simple things. You might think that, oh yeah, you can do it as a human being. Having done that, like copywriters who've done it, like Akina Kwajidala, they've done copywriting for a lot of years, and they have such experience. But even them, I use AI as a conversation. I'm very open and adventurous. Sometimes I key in a research paper that has been submitted by a student, and I tend to see how they were reasoning. I tend to see what are the gaps, what were they trying to explain to me. Understand? I think that we need to be proactive with it. Otherwise, it's going to morph into a Frankenstein, a monster because the idea is, when you raise a child, if you give them the best training and love and affection, it will reflect, likely it will reflect these ideals or these values. But if the values are neglected, it will be just something very neglected. And Gunda is not a very good looking place.
I just made a very simple inquiry. How can I use AI as a student? And ClickUp has written a whole article, like everything, like the 10 best AI educational tools in 2024. How students can use AI. They can use it to set smart and clear goals, blend traditional with technological, engage in interactive learning, analyze and adapt, ensure data privacy, stay open to feedback, stay curious.
Curiosity. And curiosity, any good human being, really, any good creative, curiosity at the center of it. So was talking about it, that she always follows her curiosity, her gut feeling. And I always feel like a good student, what has made me smart by what many people say is, I am curious. I want to know, what is the intricacies of this question? Why is it the way it is? And could there be an alternative to it? And these are things we need to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
So until another episode, bye for now.
Cheers.